Now, the Subway Final Word.
Good evening, I'm Albie Oxenrider, and welcome to the Subway Final Word. We're live tonight, and we're inviting you, the fans, into the conversation. You can get your opinion on TV right here every Sunday night. And let's get started by introducing you to the panel for tonight. The afternoon host at 105.9 The X, Mr. Mark Madden. He's got Liverpool represented tonight.
5-0, Albie.
Josh Yohe, welcome back to the Final Word. You're
over his favorite team.
How you doing, Josh?
Oh, very well.
And Bill Phillips, he's glad to be inside at Heinz Field because Bill, whether you know it or not, refuses to wear gloves, even in sub-degree temperatures. Welcome, all three of you. And tonight's big topic's the Steelers. What a night at Heinz Field. It was cold, but the Steelers were hot with a big win over the Cincinnati Bengals, the first-place Bengals. The Penguins, injuries, suspensions. What a week. They keep winning, but all kinds of stuff going on. First up tonight, what does this effort mean for the Steelers going forward? Bill Phillips, you start us off live from Heinz Field.
Well, what it means is they've won a football game, Albie, and that was something they needed to do. They had a heartbreaking loss in Baltimore and then another one against Miami last week. So in terms of confidence, letting them know they can still get it done, because it is very, very difficult to win games in the National Football League. But the Steelers got it done today. They came out quickly. They jumped on Cincinnati, and they held them down. They came up with a win. Now, if we're looking week to week, believe it or not, it keeps their playoff hopes alive if you really want to break it all the way down to the longest of long shots. But that's what it does for them. It gives them the confidence to know they can get the job done. They did it tonight. They come up with a win, and it keeps their hopes alive. And you know what? That's all you need, a little bit of hope. It's motivation. They want to get to 8-8. It's one of the things that a number of players said that's a big goal for them, getting to 8-8. And they also said they would never quit on each other. And I thought tonight was a performance that did that. So going forward, I think this is a big confidence booster for the Steelers as they find a way to win at home and keep their long shot alive.
Well, not only does Mark Madden have the Liverpool scarf tonight, but he has the Maddentron 2000. Hello, Mark.
Guys, what we need to do is not insult anyone's intelligence by acting like this win meant anything at all. They're not in the playoff race anyway, but very remotely mathematically. It gets them a worse draft pick. It gets them a tougher schedule. And the big thing is, if the Steelers continue to win, it might make this team believe it's closer to being good than it is. This team needs major change. You should beat Cincinnati at home. There are 20,000 people that didn't show up, might never know what happened. Boy, what a disgrace to the great football town of Pittsburgh when you get 20,000 no-shows for a nationally televised primetime game against a rival. But this win meant zilch. Don't dress it up. It's a bright spot in a dismal season. They're going to split the last two games and go 7-9, exactly like I said they would before the season ever started.
Josh Yohe, welcome back to the Final Word.
Yeah, good for the Steelers for showing up tonight. I really didn't think they would. They had no real reason to, and they played a good game, so that's great. But really, what stuck out to me was how awful the Cincinnati Bengals were. They had a chance to get the number 2 seed, or at least be in position to win the number 2 seed in the AFC tonight. They didn't show up. It was a dismal performance, and I think it really highlights how awful the Steelers were early in the season. Look at the AFC right now and how bad some of these teams are that are making the playoffs. And the Steelers aren't even going to be close to the playoffs. I know they're mathematically alive, but let's be realistic. This is not a playoff team, and it just goes to show if they wouldn't have started off 0-4, and if maybe they would have put Ben Roethlisberger in charge of this offense a lot earlier, they might be in playoff position right now, but too little too late, like the Super Genius said.
All right, we're going to keep it with the subject of the Steelers, and we want to remind you to keep the comments coming. The tweets and the Facebook posts will be scrolling down the left side of your screen. You can find us on Twitter at WPXI Final Word and on Facebook at The Final Word. Let's stay with the topic, the Steelers. And, well, let's go to our first fan tweet. Steeler 560 says, regarding tonight's effort by the Steelers, there are a few playmakers on defense away from being right back in contention. Outside of another wide receiver, they should draft all defense. Without hesitation, let's stay with that and go back to the panel. Topic 2, despite their struggles this season, do the recent performances of the Steelers offense, and Josh mentioned Ben Roethlisberger in the no huddle, does the recent performance, does it make you more comfortable with Todd Haley as offensive coordinator? Mark Madden and the Maddentron 2000 here to kick us off on that subject.
Albie, no time to get another comment up on the Maddentron 2000. That's for later in the show. But I am very comfortable with the Steelers offensive coordinator. But it's not Todd Haley. It's Ben Roethlisberger. Since they've gone to a lot of no huddle, almost exclusively shotgun, Ben Roethlisberger is calling the lion's share of the plays. It's going to be awful tough to fire Haley when Ben says there's no rift between the two of them and when the offense is putting up points and getting a lot of yards. But let's give credit where it's due. This offensive turnaround is due to one man and one man only, Ben Roethlisberger. By the way, I'd like to congratulate Emmanuel Sanders for making a big catch late, breaking tackles, getting a first down, keeping the clock moving, preserving the win. It's a shame you dropped the two-pointer last week. The guy makes every catch except the one he has to.
All right, that two-pointer was in the Baltimore game a couple weeks ago, but time flies. Bill Phillips is live at Heinz Field. Bill, what do you think about Todd Haley going forward? Does the recent performance make you more comfortable?
I think he'll be back next year, Albie. I think he's going to be the guy that is in charge of the offense, but that's a co-offensive coordinator with Ben Roethlisberger. I think the two are getting on the same page. I talked with Ben earlier this week for our pregame show. He said that he was very comfortable for the offense. He says the offense is coming along. It's peaking at the end of the season. And I asked him, how do you carry that over until next year? And he said that's something that they're going to try to do. But he said he's very comfortable with the players on the offense. He's very comfortable with the coaches and what the coaches have done. I asked him because earlier this week he said, I'm sure the media is going to take everything out of context. So I asked him, can you put that in context? Is that in context? Because we're going to run this whole answer. He said yes. And again, he mentioned Todd Haley by name. So I don't think Todd Haley's going anywhere. The offense is getting better, whether that's Ben calling more no huddle or Todd Haley and Ben just being on the same page. But I think it's a good sign for this offense if it can carry over to next year. Ben seems to be comfortable. I don't think Todd Haley goes anywhere.
All right, Josh.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, guys. And listen, the Steelers are 6-8 because they don't have a particularly good team on paper. They just don't have much talent right now. Bottom line, Mike Tomlin has not looked like a very good football coach this year. 2008, he sure did look like a pretty good coach. That's because he had much better players. The Steelers are where they are right now because they have not evaluated talent particularly well, and they haven't developed that talent particularly well. There's nothing wrong with how Todd Haley calls games. He's running the offense that he was brought in here to run. They wanted Roethlisberger to get rid of the ball quickly and to try to preserve his career and short passing game, all that stuff. And so that's what he's done. That's what the Rooneys wanted him to do. It's not the greatest offense in the league by any stretch, but it has certainly gotten better as the season has gone on. And as I mentioned earlier, if you put Ben Roethlisberger in charge, you're going to score points. I still believe this is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. He's 31 years old. He's in the prime of his career. Haley can't mess that up as long as Ben's calling the shots, and I don't think the offense is really the problem right now for the Steelers.
All right, coming up later, we're going to talk Penguins injuries, plus a 15-game suspension for Sean Thornton. But what do you have to say about Todd Haley's status with the Steelers? Tim isn't too impressed. He says Haley and Big Ben are complete opposites, and I think Ben stays and Haley goes. Don't you go anywhere. It's the Subway Final Word, and we'll be right back.